Season 5, Episode 66 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. With me, as always, is Jonathan Lidskin. Jonathan, M-I-Z?
Z-O-U, Sam. Let's fucking
And
go.
with us tonight, is the great Cole Adams. Cole, how are you?
I'm great. Always a great night to watch college basketball. Thank you guys for having me on.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I didn't think tonight was like the actual games were not particularly good tonight. We didn't have very many close games. The 7 o'clock window was kind of a stinker. Mizzou, Alabama was obviously that's going to be the game we lead off with. It was a blowout for most of it. Alabama started to come back. Did make it a game, but Mizzou never trailed. Jonathan, Mizzou never trailed against Alabama. How good are the Tigers?
Well, first of all, this is the second straight game that Alabama has not had a lead in, which, kind of pretty notable. But yeah, this is a game that, Mizzou made a ton of shots from start to finish. There never really was a period where they went cold and allowed Alabama getting back into the game was Alabama just, stringing together a bunch of threes. It wasn't Mizzou not scoring the basketball. But I thought the fact that Mizzou forced a ton of turnovers and got to the line as much as they did only aided how good their offense was. When you're shooting the ball like that, the last thing you want to be doing defensively is, also giving teams free points at the line and letting them get out and transition with live ball turnovers. But that's exactly what Alabama did. They kind of fed into the way Mizzou was playing tonight. And Mizzou, Alabama lives off of chaos, but so does Mizzou. And I thought that showed tonight.
Mizzou lives off a different type of chaos from Alabama. Mizzou forced, it felt like 5 or 6 turnovers in the first 5 to 10 minutes of this game. Mm-hmm. And it felt like Alabama wasn't settled. And as you said, Alabama shot 54% in this game. Mizzou shot 60% in this game. The shooting wasn't the problem. It was just that, Mizzou got to the line for 47 free throws. And B, Mizzou had more possessions that they could get a shot or a free throw on because of how many turnovers they forced. And it's not even like they were great on the offensive glass either. They're not a team known for that. They're known for their outside shooting. They're known for efficient scoring. They went to that rip screen 3 or 4 times and got easy layups for Mark Mitchell. Easy layups for a lot of guys. Anthony Robinson was blowing by dudes. Sears did not have a good game defensively whatsoever. But man, he was awesome on the offensive end. Sears kind of really carried Alabama back into this game offensively. Just shot after shot after shot. 21 points in the second half. He was tremendous. But on the whole, Mizzou got contributions from a lot of guys. Mark Mitchell played the best game of his career. He took too many threes, too many threes. Honestly, 3 too many threes. He should not be taking threes at all. But he got to the line a ton. They got him open down low. He did a little posting up. He did a little passing. There weren't very many rebounds to go around in this game because there weren't very many missed shots. So I think that if you're a Mizzou fan, your takeaway from this game should be that what we knew about Mizzou already, that this team can beat anybody, but taken to another level. 21 points off of 14 opponent turnovers. Really, really good getting to the line. I think they're a little free throw reliant for sure, but there's nothing wrong with that.
It's not Texas A&M.
It's not. It's not Texas A&M because they make shots.
Mm-hmm.
I was thoroughly impressed, start to finish, with the energy that Mizzou played with. I texted my friend 5 minutes into the game, and I said they're playing like they did a line of coke 10 minutes before the game started. and I mean that in a good way.
That's Caleb Grill basketball, right?
Yes.
That is Caleb Grill basketball.
And I mean that in a good way because they were just flying the crowd was flying. Everybody was flying in this game, and
and that's what's impressive too. They didn't even let them storm the court, and yet the atmosphere was raucous the entire night, and it felt like that's how you have to play against Alabama. You have to answer because they go on those runs, and they can happen so quickly. You just have to be able to constantly respond to those when they happen. And Missouri was able to do that, and the crowd was into it the entire game. And that's where I was like, wow, they really. Dennis Gates gets on the microphone and is like, "We're not storming the court." Like, when have you guys ever seen that happen
it's
before?
aura. It's aura.
I can't recall like seeing that have happened. That was interesting. But anyway, yeah, like you were saying. And then what did Caleb Grill and Mark Mitchell? I think they showed on the broadcast they combined for 54 points, right?
56.
Sound right, Lidskin? And then,
Jonathan, one
yeah,
thing.
it was.
One thing.
might have-
Guess the St. Mary's score.
How much time?
Game just ended.
Who did they play tonight?
Portland at home.
Oh, that's a 77-53 St. Mary's win if I've ever seen one.
79-66.
Okay, damn, that's a lot of points for a bottom of the WCC school against St. Mary's.
Yeah. All right. Back.
Yeah, and then Caleb Grill and Mark Mitchell were awesome tonight. So I love watching Missouri play. They're such a chaotically fun watch, and not in like a wanting to bash your head in type of frustrating, especially as like a neutral fan. But like they're chaotically good. Chaotically good is what I would describe Missouri.
Jonathan, I texted you.
Mhm.
Mizzou is the 4 seed that everyone's going to pick to make the Final Four.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I agree that Mizzou is the 4 seed that everyone is going to pick to make the Final Four. Assuming, the draw works out the way people want. Do I agree with them making the Final Four? I don't really know yet. This is a team that obviously
Vontae Mack.
This is a team that obviously is extremely chaotic, like Cole said, and operates at a very high level when they are on. It's just, they do things in such unconventional ways that, it makes you want to like pull your hair out sometimes with this team. But like, when that's at the start of that game, the way they were shooting the cover off the ball to get it going, and that defense in the first 4 minutes of the game, it was just unbelievable. I mean, they have like Alabama got into rhythm tonight, and Mizzou did not play great defense. Giving up 98 points no matter how many possessions you play is not great defense. But Mizzou has had games down the stretch during conference play that they have played great defense against good teams, and I think that's encouraging above all else. What I think, how do I phrase this? Like, it's so hard to guarantee that like a team is going to make a deep run in the tournament. You just you never know what could happen with injuries. You could be like Marquette and miss 25 open threes in the Sweet 16 last year. Like anything can really happen in a setting with variance that is that high. But this team is so athletically gifted and plays so well together that it's hard to not appreciate the basketball that you watch from them right now.
That was well said. You must be a Missouri fan in a little bit, because it seems like you watched them pretty well, considering based on your exactly. And I would agree with that take. I think that's exactly how I would frame them. They're like, sometimes you get older teams that are not very good, but they've got like older guys that actually they figured out like they play really well together, especially coming into the season. I don't really think a lot of people thought Missouri would be this good,
No.
So I would agree with Lidskin for sure on that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look up and down the roster, like the recruiting rankings for a lot of these guys are very, very good. So, like the turnaround, them turning it around and like making the tournament wasn't like a terribly realistic expectation, but playing like what now seems to be a borderline top 10 team in the country would have been a little optimistic even for the most optimistic Missouri fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Alabama.
I
I want to talk about the Tide. because now that's, as Jonathan just said, back-to-back games where they haven't held a lead. They play Kentucky
That's
on
crazy. They
Saturday.
didn't hold a single lead.
80 minutes of basketball, no leads. 80 minutes of basketball, 204 points allowed.
Yeah, it's concerning. It's just, I got crushed for.
I don't even think like their defense is that bad. It's not good.
It's if you told me Alabama's defense was where was going to be this, like, not tonight specifically, but like overall the way they've played defense this season. Like if you told me Alabama was going to be ranked like in the 40s for defense, which is like where they are at the start of the season, like I would have told you like, hey, like that's a team that can go win a title.
Yeah,
that defense took a big enough jump to win a title.
And look, I still like. All right, I think they are good enough to beat anybody in the country. I don't think they're good enough to do it 6 times in a row.
Yeah,
Because they play the exact same style of basketball. There's just not a lot of variance. Because like Mark Titus said this on his show, and I thought that like I had said this before. I got crushed like 2 weeks ago. I was like, Alabama, I feel like might not be a team that I'm going to pick to win a national championship. And the reason for that, as Mark even laid out too, was the fact that, they go in, they shoot a lot of threes, and yes, they can get hot a lot, but they stick to, that style of basketball. And then you get caught in games when things just don't work. It just happens in college basketball because, as a tournament format setting, you get 40 minutes and then you're just out of it if you don't play well that night. And that can happen to them. And even their run last year in March, they definitely had some close calls and played some teams that kind of favored their style of basketball, that you can run and gun with them too, which is.
But the other thing I will say about Alabama, Cole, I apologize if were you not finished?
Oh no, you can jump in, sure.
The one thing I would like to say about Alabama is that because of how many possessions they play, they're never out of the game.
Which is, I agree.
They were down what, 20? Were they down 20 in this game? Yeah, they were down 20. They were down 20 with under 4 to play in the first half. They cut it to 14 at halftime. It was within like 5 or 6 at one point in the second half, I think. And it really could have been closer.
I agree with what you're saying, and I understand that. It's just they stick to their style of basketball, and I don't know. I just find that you see teams throw out different looks offensively or play at different paces, and I worry about them for that reason. That's just my opinion on them. I got crushed for saying that I was, an Auburn fan or whatever, which is not true, but that's just where I stand with them. And you don't have to like that opinion, but I feel like it's kind of the truth. And yes, they can get really hot at times, like you just said, but that's kind of like where I'm sticking from, like my personal opinion. Okay.
Here's a fun fact for you guys, and it's something that I will think about when making my bracket, and something that I encourage you guys to think about with Alabama when you're making your bracket. I know it's a relatively small sample size, and Nate Oates has not been around at Alabama for a super long time, but his team has now made 4 consecutive NCAA tournaments, and they've been a 6 seed or higher in every single one of those NCAA tournaments. In those 4 tournaments, Alabama has not lost in a round. That's a one-day scout. So they haven't lost in the second round or Elite Eight or national championship for that matter. Every single one of their exits have been after a team has spent the entire week preparing for them. And I think there's a reason for that. And I think it's what you guys are talking about, that they play such a high variance style that is hard to prepare for in that short span of time when you haven't seen it all year. And I think that's going to hold true. Now, do I think that, Alabama's not going to lose in the second round or Elite Eight or even the national title game forever when Nate Oates is there? Probably not. But it's just an interesting data point that I have looked at over the past, couple years. And I feel like there is a reason behind it.
Anything else?
Next.
we talked about Mark Mitchell a little bit. I actually did think that Alabama tried everything they could to guard him tonight. They just really did not have an answer that was, doubling off and leaving a shooter open. And they even tried digging post, but like they started with Grant Nelson on him, and he just had no chance physically with Mark Mitchell. And then they switched Diabate onto him to give him a more physical look. And I actually think that, that worked to an extent, but Mark was just, so good at getting position with Diabate and drawing fouls.
Anything else?
That's it.
No, I'm good.
That's it
I'm
for
good
me.
on that.
Waiting for this Ken Palm update. Oh, we just got it.
12. By the way, Alabama stays at 6.
You guys are diabolical.
You know what it's time for, Jonathan? We haven't had one in a while.
Oh boy, it's time for a Valley update, folks. So this is a really fun part of the season for the Valley because, after tonight, only 3 games left for each team. And now we don't have staggered games. Everyone's playing on the same night, kind of like the MAC, Sam's conference, where everyone plays on the same night. So today, sat down before the Mizzou game, watched, as much Valley as I could, and a couple of key takeaways from me. One, Illinois State's the sleeper to win the Missouri Valley tournament. It's going to be a long shot. They're not going to get a bye, but this team, despite the 3-game losing streak, has played really well here since they've gotten healthy. Won at UIC, obviously took down Bradley tonight. I thought it was a really well-played game from Illinois State. A lot of different guys contributing. It was Jack Doherty, the freshman off the bench, who had 25, hit 7 threes. He is going to be, as long as he sticks around, the best shooter in the conference for the next three years, quite easily. But yeah, Chase Walker was really good. He only had 2 assists, but I was very impressed with his vision, passing out of double teams and finding the open guys. And Illinois State also had one of the more, electric sequences that I've seen this year. Tonight, Johnny Kinziger got a steal, and then he started bleeding from his eye. And as he is feeling the blood, he puts the ball down or gives it to a teammate and the signals to the ref, and then starts pumping up the crowd with blood dripping down from his eye. It was so cool. Drake took care of business tonight against UIC. Needed that after the Sunday loss, but nothing notable from the game. Drake is now 59th in KenPom, so that metric needs to keep climbing for them if they want to sniff closer and closer to an at-large bid in the NCAA tournament, assuming they don't win Arch Madness. And then the final real takeaway I have from tonight is Northern Iowa went down double digits really early in the game against Belmont on the road, and Belmont's playing really well. It's a really well-run program, as we have documented on this show time after time. But in typical Northern Iowa fashion, they clawed their way back, cut it to 7 by halftime, and then just took over in the second half. Titan Anderson scored 27 points on 14 shots. Like Illinois State tonight, it was a bunch of different guys contributing. Weisbrot hit 4 threes. Ben Schwieger at 17. Trey Campbell hit a couple really, really, really key shots down the stretch, despite not having the best shooting night. So, stop me if you've heard this before. Northern Iowa is playing really good basketball late in the year, and they are still in it. They are still in the league race late in the year. They will host Drake on Sunday. It's going to be, I've probably called 3 different games this year the game of the year in the Missouri Valley, but this is truly the one. Sam, that's all I got.
Well done, Jonathan.
Thank you.
Thank you for the Valley update. Jonathan will not be at the Valley tournament this year.
It's so disappointing.
Because he's a fraud.
I am a fraud.
But he will be at a different conference tournament.
What?
Is that official?
That's even worse.
Is that official yet, by the way?
I mean, it's not official in the fact that, I haven't bought tickets, but, yes, I'm going.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Cool. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I just, big boy job. Can't get out there this year. Costs a lot of money to get a hotel. But
that's fair.
I can't make it out to the Big Ten tournament because I'm off that week.
Harrison, why won't you be at the Valley tournament?
Harrison isn't even going to the Southland tournament, and he lives 30 minutes from Northwestern State. That fraud.
Wait, it's at Northwestern State?
No, it's not. But
yeah, it's in Lake Charles. I've done the slate map. I know where it is.
No, but he covers.
Ask me where a conference tournament is. I'll tell you.
Where is the Big Sky tournament?
Boise, Idaho Central Arena.
Is it really? I thought it was in Sioux Falls.
That's the Summit League.
Oh, okay. I'm a dumb fraud for that. Harry's trying to make fun of me, but I won't let him get to me.
Give me another conference.
The Horizon League. I know this one.
Cleveland. No, not Indianapolis.
You messed up. He messed up.
I got the Horizon and the single MAC confused.
Yeah, the actual MAC.
Harry's covering the best NAIA school in the country, to be fair.
Give me another conference.
The America East.
Campus sites.
Yes, you're correct. The Pac-12.
Rest in peace.
Mm-hmm. What is Cole holding? Get him back in here.
He's in timeout.
You put a lot of people.
You put me in timeout for saying that this is the actual Mac.
He goes back in timeout.
That's awesome. Oh, Sam, what else do we need to get to tonight?
Do you know where the Big South tournament is?
This guy.
The Big South tournament?
Ashland.
Is that in Asheville, North Carolina?
Yeah,
No, that's the SoCon.
Ah.
The Big South tournament, Jonathan, is in Johnson City, Tennessee.
Is that actually true? I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
Actually, it's not.
Doug got a big win the other night.
Doug only has 2 wins according to LeBron. Okay, continue.
Dude, LeBron, anything he says goes.
Exactly.
They beat Lamar.
Except for that one video.
Okay, no. LSUA only has 1 win against the D1.
Oh, Harrison giving out misleading info to the public.
Unbelievable.
That's a fake journalist if I've ever seen one.
All right, we should talk about Auburn.
Yeah, we should.
I don't really have anything to say. I didn't really watch much of this game.
Cole sounds like he has stuff to say, though.
Well, with Auburn, at least a couple of their games, it just feels like, oh my God, I can't believe it was that close. Then hold on.
Harrison, that is not what that means. The phrase you're supposed to use there is ball up top.
It's hand up. It's hand up.
Or ball up top.
Auburn just skated. All right. Enough Harrison. Yeah, Auburn just, another close game. One where it definitely feels like they should have won by way more. That's been like my thing with Auburn. It's funny too, because it's like it was during the Ole Miss game, and it was another game more recently. But it just feels like, man, they should have scored more points. Then you realize they still have like maybe 100 points. They didn't get anywhere near close to that tonight. Yeah, just another one where it was like, wake up, guys. I don't really understand why they've had some close games in Neville this year, like Tennessee and then tonight. They're just kind of cruising by. I mean, Janai is still not necessarily 100%, which I feel like at times you can tell like how it impacts the team. I just don't know if they're necessarily like watching Duke recently, you can see they're starting to get a lot better, especially with their younger players.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't necessarily feel like you can say they're the unanimous best team in America, because at times there's definitely
not number 1 in KenPom.
What was that?
They're not number 1 in KenPom
tonight. Wow.
Duke jumped them after tonight.
Wow. See, I didn't look.
Yeah, I mean, when you don't win by margin, that's
what
happens. But like, I think this was just a bad spot for them. Like, it feels like we're supposed to panic because Auburn didn't, win by 20 against a team that's on the bubble. But like, you come off a really emotional big win over a rival on the road in one of the more hyped up games of the decade in college basketball. And, they came out a little flat. It happens. No team in this
It happened to Alabama too. So it's like, you got to keep it fair. If you're going to judge Auburn, I feel like you kind of have to judge Alabama in this.
Oh, I judged Alabama. They don't like their defense has been awful this last week.
Yeah, it feels like we're supposed to freak out every time Auburn, doesn't destroy someone. But
Yeah, that's fair.
as we know, every team is human. Nobody's unbeatable in this sport, and Arkansas gave them some problems tonight with their athleticism. If Arkansas is nothing else, they're athletic, and that can give Auburn some issues. I wouldn't say problems, but it certainly can pose some issues.
I want to go to some mid-major stuff. I don't have anything else to say. Actually, I have like a couple things left on high majors that I want to discuss. I thought Kentucky was excellent.
I was about to ask you about that.
I watched part of this game and just it was overwhelming. That crowd really got into it. Amari Williams played a good game. Ortega Owe was great. Just a really tough game for Vanderbilt going on the road. Really kind of starting to slip now. They've lost 5 of 6. They need to come back to Memorial Auditorium and win on Saturday against Mississippi. They do have 3 home games left. They do have a winnable road game. I mean, every game is winnable and losable. I think you need at least 2 more wins to make the NCAA tournament if you're Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Just given what the rest of the bubble looks like.
That's where it gets so tough, especially in the SEC this year. It's like Vanderbilt's had such a great year, and it's just...
Yeah, but they're also 5-8.
I know. I mean, I'm not denying what you're saying there, but it's just a product of the conference.
Vandy feels like an easy candidate right now for are they going to win enough games?
Oh, hardly, yeah.
Because there is still a component that you can get good wins along the way, which is a lot of what this SEC bubble is. But if you're 5-13 in the league, like Georgia's trending towards, and Vandy's 5-8 with 5 tough games left.
Oh yeah,
I've got a couple of mid-major stuff that I want to talk about before we get out of here because I want this to be a quicker show tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Kimari Peterson, a name that I talked about a lot early last year. Didn't really talk about him much late last year because he kind of faded down the stretch. He's been awesome this year for East Tennessee State. He had 29 and 13 tonight as ETSU took down UNCG in Johnson City. ETSU is 9-6 in the SoCon. They are a contender in that league. There are a whole bunch of contenders in that league.
Yeah.
That's going to be a really, really fun conference tournament. Chattanooga's in first place. They have won 8 in a row. They took down Western Carolina tonight. Frank Champion had 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists. He has been one of the best players in the country over the last couple of weeks. He has, in his last 3 games, 25 assists. He's nearly had triple doubles recently as well. He's been tremendous. SoCon, Samford picked up a loss tonight against Furman at home. They've lost 3 of 4. So I think any of the top 6 in the SoCon can win that conference tournament. That would be Chattanooga, Greensboro, Samford, Wofford, ETSU, and Furman. I'm really excited for Asheville.
That's Jonathan Litzkin preseason top 100 team, Chattanooga, right there.
Jonathan, anything you want to get to? Any just mid-major stuff that caught your eye tonight?
High major. LaSalle losing to Richmond at home is just inexcusable. But
yeah, LaSalle's season is completely off the rails. Lost 5 in a row since that win against GW. They are 4-10 in the conference. Just brutal season in year 3 for Fran Dunphy. They are trending towards another bottom of the A10 type finish. They were only 2 games ahead of the bottom last year. 2 seasons ago, they were 3 games ahead of the bottom. This year, they are just a half game ahead of the bottom. They have really struggled thus far. Not that Fran Dunphy's a bad coach; he's a terrific coach. It's just that that's a really tough job to take on at his age, and it just he hasn't been able to get the job done so far.
VCU won, which will set up a great matchup Saturday between
Yes.
them and George Mason.
Yeah,
I would
VCU
like.
not only won, VCU won by 30 against
yeah.
a UMass team that is
A
beginning
corpse is the
with
light
a
way to put it.
capital Q.
Shulga and Bama had 19 apiece, so that's going to be a great matchup Saturday.
Very excited for that.
Yeah, that will be great. Very
Can
excited.
we pod like midnight Saturday, maybe
Yeah.
1?
Mhm.
Because I'm gonna miss like all of that because I'm driving back from Philly
Yeah, wait, Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
That might be
I'm-
you and DeRosa carrying.
I'll be working in the afternoon. Anyway.
I mean, yeah, I have a double header.
Yeah, I know. So we'll wait around.
Um,
Some really interesting results in the Summit League tonight, by the way.
I
Omaha.
didn't catch much of it.
Omaha. Well, the race got really interesting because St. Thomas lost to South Dakota, who's a solid team.
Yeah, Chase Fort had a big game. Saw that.
South Dakota State was upset at home by North Dakota State, and then
Yeah, no, Jackson Money's awesome.
they hit those garbage cans in Kansas City. Omaha goes on the road and wins. They are 11-3 in sole
Doesn't
possession.
Kansas City play in like an old storied venue?
Dude, I actually have no idea where they played, and I lived 2 hours for 4 years from that place.
Let me figure this out. Omaha. Where's Omaha? Swinney Recreation Center.
In Russia? I think you are right though about Kansas City playing in. It's so weird. I feel like I still keep calling them UMKC.
I will always call them UMKC.
I've been to Kansas City a couple times, and I have no idea where their like even campus is, to be honest.
Okay, they don't play at Municipal Auditorium anymore. That was the old venue that they played at.
Oh, they've got a new arena. Okay.
It opened in 1935. They played there from 1986 to 2010. They came back in 2012. They still play a couple games there, but they didn't play there tonight.
Since we're still talking about mid-majors, Gonzaga.
That is not a mid-major, but
hey, they dominated another mid-major in Washington State.
Yeah.
I want to do some Patriot League stuff. Shout out to Josh Scovins, who took over defensively tonight. I was watching this game. Like, this was main screen for me in the early part of the 7 o'clock window because it was a 6 o'clock game and it was close down the stretch.
American Army game?
Yeah. Army 76, American 79. Army is a game back at first place. American this weekend goes to hosts Boston University. I will be seeing American in person next Saturday in Hamilton against Colgate. That is the last game of that is the last day of the Patriot League regular season. Potentially a regular season title on the line. Potentially an outright regular season title on the line because they are only a game ahead of Bucknell and Army.
Mm-hmm.
Bucknell and Army play each other on Saturday in Lewisburg. That's
it's
ginormous. Yeah, on Sunday in Lewisburg. Ginormous game. Because remember, the higher seed hosts in the Patriot League tournament. Imagine a Patriot League semifinal at Crystal Arena in West Point. Imagine that. I would be there, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, you would definitely have to go.
If there's a Patriot League semifinal at Crystal, I will be there. If there's a Patriot League semifinal at Lehigh or Lafayette, I would be there, and I don't think that's possible.
No, Lafayette is 5-10, and so is Lehigh. Both are tied for last place in the league.
Yeah, because I think those are the three that are driving distance, like within a day for me. Like Colgate is 3 out because I'll be home. I'll be home. Colgate's like 3.
This is going to be one of those weird voodoo conference tournaments where we get
it's the flattest league in the country.
Where we get like a 10 seed and like a 7 or like a 6 seed in the semifinals.
Yeah, as I said, it's the flattest league in the country.
Mm-hmm.
BU is just a little bit too far for a drive. I would really consider that though. I would really consider going up to BU.
How about Ed Cooley finally getting a win over Providence tonight.
Not only that, but he broke the Fanta streak. The
That's true.
The beloved Fanta streak where he calls a Providence game and they win. Did not happen. Good for Ed.
So funny how what we were saying about Kim English and Ed Cooley at the start of the year has like kind of done a
I know.
done a 180.
I know.
I don't really have anything else to go on for today. Good win for North Texas. They can't really afford. They're not making the tournament, but unless they win outright, and I think they might. They're just as good, if not better, than Memphis.
Guys, a fire alarm just went off during Nate Oates' press conference.
I don't think Memphis is. I don't think Memphis is that great. If I'm being honest with you, I know. I think that I wish that Memphis played North Texas again in the regular season. I think if Memphis had to go to the Super Pit, I don't think they would come out of it with a win. So I think that if we get a Memphis North Texas conference final, that would be a really fun game. Would be up for grabs, and it could be a potential bid steal in the American Conference.
That is such a disappointing part about North Texas joining the American, is the fact that they absolutely probably have to win their conference tournament.
I mean, they absolutely had to win their conference tournament in the CUSA.
Well, they're
But the competition level against Memphis, for example, I mean,
whatever, like that's basketball.
Well, anyway,
more staggered conference tournaments for mid majors, please.
No show tomorrow night, I don't think. But
I'll be in Columbia.
Yeah, so no show tomorrow night. So big games across the slate. Any that stand out to you?
Let's take a look here.
I think the big one for me is Bryant at Vermont.
North Alabama, Lipscomb.
Yeah, that one too. Bryant at Vermont. Vermont has won 4 in a row, including beating Maine twice. They just beat Maine on the road. Now they get Bryant in their own house, 8-3 against 11-1. So a chance to pull back within 2.5 games, or no, within 1.5 games of the conference lead, with what would be 4 to go after that. They're probably not going to catch them, but they have a chance to get a big win tomorrow. Another game that I will most certainly keep my eyes on will be CSUN and UC Irvine. CSUN has won 5 in a row. They're 10-4. They go on the road to UC Irvine, who, as we know how good they are right in the next 4 out. A loss would obviously take them right out of that picture. They need to basically win out. They can't afford a loss. They can't lose games at this point if they want to make the NCAA tournament, Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else to add from anyone?
No.
Cole?
I hope USA wins tomorrow against Canada. No?
Oh, I forgot that game was happening tomorrow.
Yeah. That is happening.
Throw that in there.
I love hockey. I just don't have any time for it.
I'll definitely have that on tomorrow.
All right, Jonathan, you want to take us home?
Yep. If you came to hear about Tyler Self and where he's working, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about apparently fire alarms going off at Nate Oates' press conference, you came to the right place. And if you came to hear about the latest happenings with Caleb Grill, which was very good tonight, you came to the right place. This has been Season 5, Episode 66 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Mid Steelers. We'll see you next time.